Welcome back to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where we recap everything CBS soaps, both the young and the restless, and the bold and the beautiful. And this is your bold and the beautiful recap for September 5th. And looks like the fight continues over Douglas between Hope and Brooke and Liam versus Thomas, Taylor, and Ridge. And then Sheila is not giving up, so much so that she sneaks out to STEFFY's house in a disguise. So before we unpack all of this, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to the channel and don't forget to like and share. So we're over at the Cliff House. We see Steffi and Finn having a moment. There's a little bit of kissing going on. And she said Amelia had the kids, so they're having a blast. So they go over Finn meeting his mom for lunch. And this is where we saw Steffi expression changes when he says that he never appreciated her more. Now, I know I was wondering why the face. So Steffi says that she was relieved that when he speaks of his mom, he's talking about Lee and not Sheila, because Sheila is dead and will never ever bother them again. Now we're at Deacon's place, and he and Sheila go over the risk that she took by showing up at Il Giardino. And it's a risk she says she would take again because she got to see her baby boy's face. And she's like, what don't you understand about that? Well, the question is, Sheila, why don't you understand that if you keep sneaking out, the chances of you being spotted, it's going to be great, and you're going to get both of them in trouble. So, yeah, you need to figure that out. Now, we're at Brooke's place. Hope is telling her mom and Liam how happy Douglas was at the Forrester mansion. Now, Liam thinks that's great, but questions if she thinks that means that she believes that he should move out of the house, and the fact that whether or not Thomas was just putting on a great show for Hope. But Hope kind of counteracted that whole argument because of the fact that she was like, yeah, but Douglas seemed like he is extremely happy being there. So, I mean, what are you going to do? Rip the kid away from there? Go figure. Now, we're over at the Forrester mansion. Eric suggests that, they get a dog for Douglas, as he, Ridge, and Taylor were sitting around talking about how excited they were that Douglas was spending some time there. Now, Thomas reminds them that everything is pretty much in a flux right now. And Taylor's glad Hope stopped by and wonder if she can now see that Douglas belongs there. Thomas feels like, yeah, it look like we might be making some progress, but Taylor brings up Brooke and Ridge, grunts. Now, Taylor points out that she's saying that Douglas belonged only with Hope and not with them. And it makes her sad because she's turning this whole thing into a Forrester versus Logan situation. Yeah, but Brooke isn't the only one, because your daughter, Steffi, is also turning it into a Forresters versus Logan war. So it's just a messy situation right now, and they have 50-50 custody, so I don't know why this is a big issue. Now, Ridge doesn't think this is a tug of war. Taylor feels Thomas and Hope should be able to make their own decisions without being pressured. And Thomas can see why Hope has concerns, because she's made a wonderful family with Douglas. Now, they have a great family as well, but there's a lot to consider. And then, of course, Eric reiterates that they're welcome to stay there. And Taylor asks, Thomas whether or not that he's changed his mind. He hasn't, but he wants to just be sensitive to Hope's feelings. Now, we're back at Brooke's place. Liam and Brooke say that they will always be worried of Thomas. Brooke warns Hope, you know what? You need to be worried about that too. You can never, ever let your guard down with them. Now, back at the Cliff House, Steffi is urging Finn to talk to her if he's having conflicting feelings about Sheila's death. She's trying to do her best to understand. Finn goes over how it was, and his love for Steffi that kept him alive. Sheila may have loved him in her own warped way, but he called it a selfish love and an obsessive one. Now, Steffi stated that it was a destructive one, and he should never forget the reason why they almost lost him was Sheila. Well, you played a part in that too. And Finn wishes he could just forget all about his birth mother and what happened. And Sheila's dead, and she's not going to hurt us anymore or anyone that we ever love. And they pretty much embrace at that point. Okay, now at Deacon's apartment again, Sheila is marveling at getting to see Finn's face. It was like, and then Deacon interject. It was like, what? You never put a bullet in him? And then Sheila goes on and on about the whole encounter. I can feel it in my heart, Deacon, that he loves me. And you can tell Deacon is grimacing. He suggests that this might be wishful thinking on her part, especially consider she almost killed him. And if you think he could love you after that, it's delusional, big time. And this is where we saw her look real agitated about it. Because Sheila expects Deacon to be emotionally supportive. She blames Steffi for pushing her to the edge and costing her relationship she was building with Finn, Hayes, and even Taylor, which I partly agree with that. Now, Deacon has to get back to work, to the land of reality, according to him. He's pleading with her to just stay there and don't do anything crazy. Now, before walking out the door, Deacon signs and tells her, you know what, I'm sorry. But she has to let the relationship with Finn go because he believes that she's dead. You're dead. Don't forget that. And we see once alone, Sheila whisper, I refuse to believe that I'm never going to have a relationship with my son. So now we're back at the Forrester mansion. Eric says that he has to go. He's meeting Donna at the club. And that's when Ridge says, pickleball? And Eric confirms, yeah. I was like, oh, they had to bring that back up. And then after he left, Ridge grunts, I guess that's what the kids are calling it these days. Taylor starts to giggle a little bit, but Ridge tells Thomas his grandfather is very happy and that he and Douglas are staying at the house, and Taylor agrees with that. She's just praying and hoping that Hope uses her discernment in all of this. Thomas thinks Hope's believe he's changed. Taylor was like, okay, good, because guess what? Brooke doesn't share that same opinion. Speaking of Brooke and Liam is reminding Hope that Thomas did a lot of horrible stuff in the past. Hope was like, you know what, I haven't forgotten. Liam says one visit shouldn't change her mind. You don't think Douglas should go live with Thomas, right? And I'm like, God, you just don't remember all of the good things he did for you, Liam, as in getting your behind out of prison. I guess we forgot about that. Boy, does he have a short memory. So Taylor and Ridge are now alone at the Forrester living room. She can see that he's not doing well at all. And Taylor tells Thomas that, she appreciates his support and need it. He knows that, she can stand by him even if it's the last thing Brooke wants. Now, back over at Brooke's place, she's now complaining that Thomas would be risking all of the progress she and Liam has made with Douglas. Hope points out that Thomas feels that he's ready to take that on now, and it may be what Douglas wants, and he deserves to have a healthy, committed, loving father. And there was nothing in that statement that both Liam and Brooke could say. You can tell by their face with that statement. What else could they do with that? Because he does need his father. Seriously, it's one thing that they got them, but now, with him having his biological dad around, that's absolutely what he needs. Now, back at the cabin, Thomas finds Hope distracted because she's distracted thinking about the whole conversation back over at the Forrester mansion. Now, this whole conversation she was thinking about was about him saying he's a one-woman man. And then that's when, she kind of woke up from that where he asked if it's a bad time. Now, at home, Brooke flashes to being in bed with Ridge with all these rose petals and smiles because she's excited about the fact that her husband is home at this point. And I'm assuming she thinks that he's back with her. But yeah, she's in this la la land of a dream, smiling about this whole scene with these rose petals and everything. I'm like, girl, please. Back over at the Forrester Mansion, while all that dreaming was going on, Taylor and Ridge are now talking about how happy they are for Thomas and Steffi right now. Taylor tells him that it meant a lot to her that the kids, with the kids, that he vowed to be there for them and the family. Ridge was like, I meant what I said. And Taylor moves close and takes his hand. She knows he's at Brooke, but when he calls her Doc, it feels like he's there with her. They get intimately close. They're looking into each other's eyes. And this is where I thought they were finna kiss, but she actually presses a kiss onto his cheek. And I think he was expecting a kiss too. She faked him out a little bit. But then they looked into each other's eyes and they began to smile. And finally, we're back over at the Cliff House. Now, Finn can't fathom how a woman like Sheila, who gave him life, could come so close to taking their lives. You need to ask your wife that question. He'll never know what to do with that, but a part of him can't forget that if it wasn't for Sheila, he would have never been born either and wouldn't have been there with Steffi. Now, they both embrace as they talk about this thing, and like I said, if Steffi wasn't in that alley in the first place arguing with that psychopath, it wouldn't have been this. It wouldn't have got to this point. But as they're embracing, we see Sheila in disguise watching from the outside patio doors, talking about someday I'm going to be holding you again because I love you, Finn. And Mama is always going to love you. So, yeah, she is pushing the envelope with this move. So there you have it, the recap for The Bold and the Beautiful from Monday, September 5th, 2022. If you haven't checked out the Young and the Restless recap for today, it has already been uploaded to the channel. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you soon. Bye.